Okay, guys, with Global being so close to being fully caught up to the JP version of the game, we now have Gray on the game, and we are going to talk about how to build her, what skills you want to upgrade first, what skill pages you want to equip on her, what gear you want to run on her, whether or not you should enhance her, what talents you want to run on her talent tree, and then, of course, what teams is she going to fit well on. So let's start by talking about her LR passive. You get this passive just for getting her to LR. At the start of a wave, if allies excluding self are of the same attribute, meaning they are all one type, red, blue, or oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the other one? Green. There we go. Red, blue, or green. Power, technique, or sense attributes grants them continuous damage immunity for one turn. So that's really nice. So for the first turn, you don't have to worry about continuous damage, which is cool. And then if we go into her other skills, I really like her support skills. And by the way, she is a new light type unit, so she is the second character of that type after Noelle to come out in the game. Her skill 1 is called a Magic Bullet. If an enemy is taking continuous damage, inflicts one more instance of the same continuous damage they are currently taking. That can be very, very useful. And then her skill 2, Please Don't Look at Me, is a 80% chance, can go up to 100% if you upgrade it. I have it upgraded twice right now. Normally it's 60% at the start. Chance to grant all allies continuous damage immunity for 2 turns. That is a guaranteed 2-turn continuous damage immunity. That is very solid, right? Especially if you're taking on like Marileona teams and you guys have been tired of the burns. She is insane for that. Grants a 80% increased defense buff to the ally whose HP is below 100% for 1 turn. Another good defense boost. Pretty good support right there. Her special skill, Conversion Magic, grants all allies a Magic Conversion A buff for 2 turns, and that is going to reduce damage taken by 45% and converts it to a Magic Conversion B upon taking damage. Magic Conversion B is going to increase damage dealt by 30% and converts to Magic Conversion A upon taking damage, so it'll switch back and forth, right? That's pretty dang good. And then grant self a 20% increased mobility buff. You can increase how much mobility you get by upgrading the skill. Once again, I have mine partially upgraded, so it starts at 10%. You can upgrade it to a full 30% increased mobility, which is going to help her get her second turn back faster to be able to use her other skills. So that's pretty decent overall. And then her combined attack here grants the partner mage an increased defense level 4 buff for 2 turns. That is an increased defense by 210%. I think that is insanely good. It could be very useful with like Black Asta if you are trying to give him extra defense when taking on like a raid boss in PvE content. It's a very solid combo skill. Now, in terms of upgrade priority, I would go for the special skill first for the extra mobility. Then I would go for the skill 2 for the extra activation rate. And then I would probably honestly go skill 1 because I feel like you're going to be using this more than you're using your combo skill. Skill 1 and combo skill don't really matter all that much because they don't give you anything but extra damage when you upgrade them. But if you had to decide which one to level up first, I would go skill 1 because you'll definitely be using that a lot more than your combo skill. So once again, upgrade priority should be special skill, skill 2, skill 1, then your combo skill for this character. Now, in terms of skill pages, I actually don't have her skill page. I did not pull for her skill page. I don't particularly care all that much about getting her skill page because I feel like it's a character where having dupes into the skill page makes the skill page really good, but just having the skill page itself, it's like kind of like, I'm all right. Don't get me wrong. Her skill page is good. It's probably the best one you can still equip, but if you don't get it, you're not hurting that much, okay? So you can equip a skill page like this. Moonlight Necklace is a very good one in general for support characters. It grants a defense increase, in my case because I have it duped twice, a 56% increased defense buff and 7.6% increased HP recovery buff. That is going to just help keep her alive and allow her to do her thing. Now, if you don't have this skill page, which is like probably my second recommended after her skill page, you can of course run her skill page if you are lucky enough to run it, or you can run other like defensive type skill pages, and any of those would work fine. There are SSR defensive skill pages you can run that would work out all right. But let's talk about her skill page real quick and why I do think it is the best one you can equip to her. So her skill page passive, if Magic Convert buff is applied or converted, grants self 2 to 10% of own max HP as HP recovery. So on top of having extra mobility for herself, on top of extending the continuous damage or giving extra continuous damage to enemies, on top of giving your team continuous damage immunity, she is now also going to be able to recover her own HP. If you give her an HP build, like I'm probably going to recommend in this video, then she could be healing for a lot of health, like a ton of health, okay? So just keep that in mind. Her skill page is very good if you are going to go for an HP build, but once again, you do want it kind of maxed out to get that 10% of own max HP and really make her good. Otherwise, it's just 2%, and that's not nearly as good. But then you also get the additional effect on your skill 2, gives the defense penetration level 2 buff to all allies for 2 turns, and that alone, like, obviously makes her very, very good. So first, if you have her skill page, equip her skill page. Second, if you don't, I would equip like a defensive skill page in general. Now let's talk about the gear. So as you see, my gear sets are not complete because I actually need more of a specific gear set. I've been slacking on my advanced dungeon grind, and I'm not afraid to admit it, but I need to grind out a little bit more. But there's 2 ways you can build this character, okay? So you can build her with an HP set like you see right here. The main stat on all of these are going to be HP, or you can build her with a defensive set where you have the long pieces, 4 of those, and then the 3 small pieces like you see right here. Okay, so you can do defense or you can do HP. If you have her skill page, you should go for the HP build. If you don't, then you might want to go for more of the defensive build. I am hoping I get the skill page, so that's why I have built the HP build, but just in general, that's kind of how I would advise you to do it. Now, the sets, no matter which build you're going to go for, should be the same though. So you should be going for a half defense set, a gold set, of course, and a half mobility set. And what do I mean when I say gold sets? Well, if you go into sets over here and look, you have attack, defense, HP, mobility, so on and so forth. Those are regular sets. If you look over here, you have ones with gold stars on them. These are gold sets. Gold sets are always going to have better stats than regular sets, so those are the ones you are going to want to equip. Now, the third set that you don't see right here, because I don't have the piece I need, that you are going to want is going to be a speed set. So this is the speed set right here. And I am missing this piece that I have on Uno. I don't want to take it off of Uno because I don't want to mess up my stuff and confuse myself. But I know you can set up like presets of gear and switch them between characters and stuff like that. But I prefer that each character just have their own set, because the way I do substats, like I build substats specific to certain characters. So I don't really want to switch this off of Uno and switch it over to gray just for the sake of like showing this right here. I'll confuse myself. But yeah, in general, you should go for a defense set, a mobility set, and a speed set right here. I am just waiting on getting this extra square piece here so that I can put it in, and that requires going through the advanced gear dungeon, so just keep that in mind. Now, in terms of substats, what should you be going for? Well, ideally you go for like a little bit of extra HP if you're going for the HP build, and then if you're also going for the HP build, you're going to want to go like damage resist, you're going to want to go for crit resist. Those things are going to help you out and just help keep her alive. Now, if you are going for the defensive build where you switch out these HP pieces for defense pieces, then you're going to want to go for defense percentage. You're going to want to go for damage resist. You might want to go for even a little bit of HP on there if you're going to go for like a defense build with her skill page. But yeah, those are kind of just in general the substats I'd go for: defense percentage, damage resist, crit resist, and some HP depending on what you're looking for. But those will be the substats that get you the furthest with this character and help maximize her potential and keep her alive and allow her to really do her job of supporting. Now, in terms of enhancement, do I think she is worth enhancing? Do I think you guys should be pulling for dupes? So long story short, yes, if you're going for 5 dupes. No, if you're going for 2 dupes. Okay, so at 2 dupes at the start of battle, or start of a turn, sorry, grant self an SP +1 buff, right? So that's going to be useful. That's nice for getting your special back, but I don't think it's all that necessary. I feel like she offers plenty of support to people without having dupe 2. Okay, she'll be plenty useful to you without having dupe 2. Now, going to dupe 5 is kind of important though, because at the start of a wave, if all allies excluding self are of the same attribute among power, technique, or sense attributes at the start of a turn, inflicts 1 more instance of continuous damage on the enemy who is taking continuous damage. So that is very, very good, and that is why I would get her to dupe 5, but not everybody can obviously whale. So the only time I think you guys should be enhancing this character or pulling for extra copies of this character is if you are in fact like guaranteed in your mind, like I'm going to get her dupe 5 no matter what. Doesn't matter how much it costs me, doesn't matter how many times I have to pull, I'm getting her dupe 5. That's when you should be pulling for extra copies. Otherwise, you're good with 1 singular copy in my opinion. You also get some extra damage resist at level 4, which just helps keep her alive, but really the big thing is that extra effect you get on dupe 5 is just insanely good. That extra continuous damage can set you up for so many things in this game. That support right there is what makes Gray like an insanely good, I dare say one of the best supports in the game, like really, really, really good, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, in terms of talents, what should you be running? Well, her attack tree doesn't really matter, right? Because she's never going to do the most damage being a support character, but I would just run like the damage ones. Damage dealt, crit damage. That's kind of what I would go for in general, assuming you guys don't have the stone that allows you to pick and choose what you need, right? That's what all these builds are, assuming you don't have that stone. Otherwise, you can just pick and choose the stuff you want. And then I would go for the defense percentage, of course, help keep her alive. And then I'd probably go for the stacking defense and crit resist. You could also go for the debuff immunity when your HP drops below a certain amount. That's an option, but I do feel like these two in general are probably the best defense ones you can equip. And then for support, you can go for damage resist. And then I would also recommend going for this, especially with her skill 2 being as good as it is. 20% chance to grant reduce skill 2 cooldown by 1 turn. That is just insanely good. That is really important. I think that's even better than getting the SP plus 1. I think that is just really, really important and really good. Now, the SP plus 1 buff here could be potentially useful if you do have her dupe 2, because this will grant you SP plus 1 upon having less than 2 SPs. Then you also get an SP back at the start of a turn, so it might be okay, but I don't know when you'll actually have a ton of chances to use it, you know? So I feel like overall, this one is probably the best one. And then of course you just want the damage resist as your other support tree talent. And that just leaves us with going over her teams. So I have a couple of team recommendations here for Gray. This is the first team I would recommend to you guys. It's kind of a cleave team, works out pretty well. I think it'll work a lot better when we get to level 125 on global, but JP already has this. I've done a little bit of sort of testing with my JP account, and so this team can work fairly well for you. So it's an option worth considering and trying out and seeing how it works. But yeah, just running this team is annoying to say the least. Another team option you could run is something like this. This is a common team where you see Valkyrie, Noelle, Spirit Dive, and Charlotte together, and then usually this last slot is filled with a supporter. A lot of times it'll be like Green Mimosa, but you could definitely throw in Gray here and have her be useful. And then last but not least is one of my more like, I kind of really like this team that I'm about to show you. It's one of my favorites because I know not a lot of other people talk about it, and it is this blue team right here, mono blue team with Gray as a supporter, because remember when she's on a team with all characters of one type, she's able to do her particular buffs, and she also gives, remember, extra, I think on the special skill, I can't remember if it's damage reduction or defense with her magic conversion, reduces damage taken by 45%, extra 45% damage reduction, plus Zoro's damage reduction / defense, plus Luck's own innate extra damage reduction, plus William's defense. Like, it's just so much defense, a lot of firepower, countering from these characters. There's just a lot going on here. Plus, we also have continuous damage from Luck and the electrocutes that she can add extra stacks to. So just a very solid team all the way around, in my opinion. I think this team works out pretty well. And if you have William built up at all, he can be the healer for this team. So you don't even have to have Gray's like healing on her. But if you have her skill page plus William's skill page, he's healing the team, she's healing herself, and then these guys just have insane damage reduction. Like, it's an insane team. It's really good. But you do have to have this team built, I will say that. But I do think this is a very good option for Gray. And of course, you can run Gray on like a mono red team as well. She's designed to be a supporter that can be run with mono teams, right? So just keep that in mind. But in particular, I like recommending this team because I think this team is a lot of fun. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments of the new character of this build guide. If you guys have any questions, any suggestions, let me know. And if you guys did enjoy the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, and hitting that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.